So, you don't think I can do it?
I just think you should give it a little more thought, okay?
You're gonna tell me it's a bad idea too?
I just think you should give it a little more thought, okay?
Well, okay, fine. Let's see what he says. Hey, you have a second? Sam and I were just having a, discussion, and I wanted someone else's input.
I think it's more accurate to say that you and I have now both been cornered, but sure.
I'd like to, get in shape, do some working out. So I asked Vladimir for some tips, and he basically said weightlifting was a bad idea.
Are you sure that's what he said, or is it just what you heard?
Anyway, so I wanted to get Sam's opinion on it, and he pretty much said the same thing.
Okay, since now you've been fully roped into this, let's all just take a step back. I had simply pointed out that if you take a look at Matteo, weightlifting isn't necessarily the first thing that comes to mind. I was wondering whether there might be a better option for him, and just sort of musing in general about the idea of sticking to things you're inclined to, versus going out and trying something completely new. Well, what's your take on it? You think it's better to stick to what you know, or to take any opportunity to try something that's maybe outside your comfort zone? Well, now I'm just talking more generally, philosophically, if you will. I feel like maybe you dodged the question there, but okay. Also, I bet you 10 credits Vlad said something similar.
Of course I'd be careful! Anyway, thanks. I think I'm gonna try it. And don't worry, I'll be sure and ask Vladimir for pointers.
Hey, we'll support you no matter what. Just don't want to see you get hurt is all.
Yeah, I know. Thanks. And maybe if I need a spotter...
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Feel free to help yourself at the bar. I don't drink, but I feel like if I did, now would be a good time for one. You and me both. The implications are staggering. Obviously, we don't know anything for certain, at least not yet, but there sure seems to be a connection between these temples and the artifacts. So it would follow that someone, or something, built them. Both the temples and the artifacts. That alone is... it's huge, isn't it? You said it, not me. I'll concede it's a possibility, but it's only 1 in a million. As much as we'd like to, we can't jump to conclusions just yet. That might end up being the understatement of all time. But really, we can't get ahead of ourselves. We just need to focus on our next steps. More research, documenting our findings, and not jumping to conclusions, no matter how enticing that might be. Take care of yourself. Hey, Barrett, I can't find...
We've always considered ourselves explorers, but this really is uncharted territory, isn't it?
You know, the thing. The one with the prongs. Is that what they are? The bit that sort of sticks out with the... you know...
You have no idea what you're looking for, do you?
No. But I have good intentions. That should be enough, right?
All right. I will find and bring you an array of devices that may or may not serve your purpose. Sound good?
Ever since I got here, this has felt like home. These people are family. I hope it feels that way for you too. It's been quieter around here ever since Vladimir went to live on the Eye full time. Before I say anything, I need to clarify that I have no formal medical training. So with that in mind, I think so. I know I said the scans weren't normal, but I would differentiate that from dangerous or concerning. I plan on keeping an eye on you, but you seem to have adapted to the changes. You're feeling okay, right? Then, depending on what different means, we do some more scans, talk it over with the group, and make a decision. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'm not a doctor, but I do have eyes. I think I'd notice. I have no reason to expect anything that drastic will happen, but we are in uncharted waters here, so I guess you'd just be extra handy to have around. Okay, well, if I were a doctor, I would absolutely advise against that, for a variety of reasons. But I'll take it as a positive sign for now. For now, just relax. We're all behind you, and we'll take care of you if we need to. And if you wake up in the middle of the night to find me standing over you, taking scans or drawing blood, just take it in stride. I'm kidding, I wouldn't do that. Probably. Stay safe, okay?
I am glad there is still a reliable source of news in the settled systems, though it often travels significantly slower. If you are free soon, could we talk?
You talk and get paid, I spread the news. It's a classic win-win. You certainly get around. I'm surprised that branch has any customers left, the number of times it's been held up. But I thought the Rangers had finally managed to get a handle on it. I heard there was a standoff. That true? I hear the robbers are provided free of charge. All part of the service. What happened to the robbers? The Shaw gang? You did what? I mean, you're well spoken, but a hostage negotiator? I'll do some research and make sure that checks out. These things are often messy. Any customers or Galbank staff get hurt? That's really good news. Usually, well, it's a different kind of story. You were there. You were involved in resolving it. Any comment on the Freestar Rangers? Having another high-profile robbery in their own backyard is a bit of a black eye. And there's my quote right there. Very well said. Stories like this always fire up public outrage and appetite. Thanks for the interview. And take this.
Here, I have something for you. Yes, well, it seemed like a good idea. I saw it earlier and thought you might like it. Or find it useful. Or, well, whatever. Of course. We are partners, are we not? I will keep an eye out in the future. And if I see something, I might hold on to it for you. I have things I wish to discuss with you. When you have time. We have not yet had a moment to talk about what happened to you at that place. Temple? I am not sure what to call it. In all my time amongst the stars, I have never heard of such a thing. What do you think that place was? Nor I suspect anyone else who has ever lived. Is that presuming too much? Certainly it is too soon to speculate about who built it, but how can we not? After what you experienced, do you have any insights? It was not exactly what I meant, but yes. I suppose I was hoping you might have felt something. I am sorry. After what you have been through, I should be asking about you. Are you all right? Have you felt any side effects? How can any of us know what will happen? This is the definition of unprecedented, is it not? A cynical person might suggest that in itself could be a side effect. But for now, we will just assume you have been very fortunate. The artifacts that temple this new ability you have acquired, clearly they are all connected. This is all so much bigger than we realized. Yes, you are right. And if we continue to work together, perhaps we can start to explain some of this. Now we have even greater reason to press forward, to learn more about what is at work here.
Welcome, Captain. We've been expecting you. You're clear to dock at docking port 1. Greetings, Captain.
Welcome aboard the UC Vigilance. Did you have any questions before I escort you to the commander? I'm not authorized to divulge information about this vessel. Suffice to say, it's one of the toughest ships in the UC's arsenal. Yeah, listen to him, carefully. The commander's a one-and-done kind of officer. In other words, he hates to repeat himself. Other than that, just observe standard military decorum, and it should keep you from serving any time on the ship's cleaning detail. All right, this way, please. So, you're the vanguard that took down that terramorph on Tau Ceti. You've made quite an impression around here. Everyone upstairs is talking about it.
Dangerously low temperatures here. Keep an eye on your vitals.
Hell of a firefight. I almost regret missing out on all the fun. Of course, we don't normally see that kind of action on the Vigilance, but we have our moments. All right, Vanguard. Take the lift up to Ops. Commander Ikande should be waiting for you. Good luck. Yes? What?
Hello. Yes?
Excuse me. Can we try and focus on the matter at hand, please? Ah, there you are. Commander Kibwe Ikande, UC SysDef. Glad to have you aboard. I was beginning to think you were having second thoughts about Commander Tuala's offer. UC SysDef is a division of the UC Navy. While they handle big picture stuff, we deal specifically with pirates. Since you're already involved with the Vanguard, I don't have to underline how important your contribution will be to the security of our spaceways. Excellent. Then let's get right to it, shall we? This is the operations center of the UC Vigilance. SysDef's nerve center, dedicated to the destruction of the Crimson Fleet. We are currently in the Sol system, in deep orbit around Phobos. As to why, I'll explain momentarily. That's strange. According to your file, you've encountered them before. On Vectera specifically. They were the pirates that attacked your mining outpost? I'm surprised you don't remember. Whether this ship is impressive or not, you're the key element that we've been lacking. We need eyes and ears inside the Crimson Fleet. Someone who can feed us information, evidence, and expose their weaknesses. The catch is that you can't just knock on their front door and ask for an application. Getting inside is going to take some finesse. Let's get one thing straight right now, soldier. I don't care if you're from the Vanguard, the Navy, or the technician that scrapes the carbon scoring off the engine nozzles. In my eyes, your past service no longer matters. You're now an agent of SysDef, meaning that it's my job to keep you alive. Good. I have just the right place for you to start. Our intelligence has managed to find a possible opening into the Crimson Fleet through Saoirse Bowden, one of their contacts. She works for the Trade Authority in Sidonia, so you'll be using a container of Aurora we've loaded on your ship to get her attention. That's classified. Suffice to say that the smuggler who was previously holding it will be spending the rest of their life in prison. Aurora is a Class A controlled substance that's illegal to transport outside of Neon, a city on Volai. Get caught with this stuff aboard a ship, and you're looking at some serious fines. You'd better hope so. Saoirse won't be easy to dupe. Once you bluff your way into the Crimson Fleet, then the operation proceeds to evidence gathering. That's where my second-in-command, Lieutenant Jillian Toft, comes into the picture. She'll explain everything you need to know. Let's just say my superiors need proof that engaging the Crimson Fleet is a larger priority than they're willing to admit. If we shove enough concrete evidence under their noses, they'll have no choice but to allocate the resources that I've requested. At the same time, we can use the evidence to arrest members of the Crimson Fleet, weakening them enough to strike a fatal blow. Eager to get going? Good. Remember, this entire operation rests on your ability to infiltrate the Crimson Fleet and bring us the evidence we need to take them down. Then you better learn to swim, because you're diving right into the deep end on this one. I've studied your profile. I know you can do this. I'm not about to throw away someone's life on a whim or a prayer. Just use your best judgment, trust your instincts, and watch your back. I wouldn't expect any less. Look, before you begin, I want to make something perfectly clear. As an undercover operative for UC SysDef, you'll be expected to follow our code of conduct and ethics. Allow yourself to stray too far off the path, and you stand a good chance of spiraling out of control. To put it simply, you can't go into every situation with guns blazing. Think before you act. Calculate what you're doing and pull the trigger only when it's absolutely necessary. At the end of the day, your primary goal is taking down the Crimson Fleet. That's the greater good. The Crimson Fleet doesn't follow the rules. They only abide by one thing: money. All of their morals and social graces fall by the wayside in pursuit of their greed. At first glance, this can appear quite enticing. So I'm warning you not to get lured into their trap. Think you can handle that? That's what I wanted to hear. Anyway, it's time to hand you over to Lieutenant Toft. She'll brief you about the details of the evidence-gathering portion of the operation. Now, get out of here, and good luck. That's easy to answer. You don't. We'll be monitoring your activities from the Vigilance, and attempting to keep it within your vicinity. When you feel you've gathered enough evidence, and at the completion of your assignments, head back here for a debrief. Beyond that, you're completely on your own. All we know is that she's been with the Trade Authority for years, which means she's been privy to some seriously shady deals. She's shrewd and she's diligent. The only reason we were able to connect her with the Crimson Fleet at all was thanks to an informant. I'm afraid she's the best lead we've got. For your own safety, nobody but myself and the crew of the Vigilance will be aware that you're working for the United Colonies. Basically, if you land in jail, you're going to have to deal with the fines. While you're running with the Crimson Fleet, you're undoubtedly going to be faced with some morally gray decisions. It's going to be difficult for you to weigh the consequences of pulling the trigger while maintaining your cover. Do what you have to do, but remember why you're out there in the first place. Then you do what you have to do. The Crimson Fleet has the potential to kill hundreds, even thousands of people per year. If it takes a few deaths to maintain your cover, then so be it. But only as an absolutely final resort. This is not a licensed killing spree. Understood? I'm not advocating violence. I'm merely urging you to weigh the consequences before you open fire. Look, I can see that you're struggling with this. So let me simplify this for you. If there's a route to your goal which doesn't involve killing innocent people, I'm urging you to follow that path. Use your instincts. I'm certain you'll do the right thing. You have your orders.
All right, we don't have a lot of time, so I need you to listen up. While you're working undercover, it's imperative that you gather as much evidence as possible. If you find any records that look suspicious or incriminating, you bring it to me. Is that understood? Well, since it isn't every day we stumble across a criminal's fully written confession, we need to build a case against our suspects. The more evidence we acquire, the stronger our case becomes. And knowing the Crimson Fleet, they'll leave plenty of evidence for you to find. I'd scour every inch of wherever the Crimson Fleet sends you. Otherwise, you're wasting our time and risking your neck for nothing. Criminals are sloppy. Look hard enough and I'm certain you'll stumble across their mess. Well, you better. Commander Ikande's entire operation is resting on your shoulders. I want data slates, computer downloads, handwritten notes. Hell, I'll take anything if it'll get those bastards thrown into the brig. Haven't you been paying attention? Our goal here is the complete eradication of the Crimson Fleet. In order to do that, we need to dismantle them piece by piece from within. If you bring me evidence, we can make arrests and slowly drain their resources. Think of it as a death by 1,000 tiny cuts. For the sake of the settled systems, I hope you're right. That minor skirmish you had with them on Vectera was nothing compared to the death and destruction those pirates leave behind. If you've seen what I've seen, you'd understand why I'm pushing you so hard. What? No. It's personal. It has nothing to do with you. Just stick to the mission and you'll be fine. Yes, of course. I'm sorry if I brought up any painful memories. One last thing. A bit of good news, actually. Commander Ikande has authorized a credit disbursement for each piece of evidence that you return, as compensation for your efforts. Well, that's just it. You're not career military, are you? And speaking frankly, you're completely out of pocket during this operation. You'll be paying for your own supplies and other unexpected incidentals. So, if I were you, I'd stop asking questions and accept the compensation. It's not generous, it's motivational. Commander Ikande's idea. All right, we've loaded a container of Aurora into your ship's cargo hold. We're also providing you with a sample you can use to tease the goods. We've cleared your ship for launch. Proceed to Sidonia. Make contact with Saoirse Bowden. And with any luck, she'll point you to the Crimson Fleet. That should do it. You're dismissed. Not really, no. I've learned to keep my personal experiences separate from the job. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate that you care. It's just that I don't feel like now's an appropriate time to be discussing these things. Let's just stick to the job at hand and concentrate on the mission. But, maybe we can talk about it some other time, okay? We'll be keeping them close at hand until this operation is complete. So, we'll be holding them in the Vigilance's brig. If you're feeling particularly ruthless, you could always head down there and say hello. I'm sure they'll be thrilled to see you. Don't worry, the container's been registered with UC Security, so you shouldn't have any trouble. Even if you're scanned. Of course, if we find out you tried to sell it to someone outside the boundaries of this particular operation, well, I don't think I need to tell you the consequences of making that mistake. I'll be here if you have any more questions.
Pardon.
Okay, hello.
Howdy.
How's the pirating business? I don't know about you. People who work undercover, they're sneaky by nature. Hard to read. When I fly, I want someone beside me who I can predict. Boxes by the Marquess of Queensbury rules. But you're a southpaw. A wild card. That isn't it. We've got plenty of green pilots picked right from the Academy. But yours happen to come from a different farm. Vanguard. But if Commander Ikande says you're SysDef, then you are one of us. For now. You guessed it. In fact, I'd say you've got what linguistic experts call FOGO, a firm grasp of the obvious. But I'm not just any pilot. I'm the best, and I've got the kills to prove it. You got some set of manners, kid. The fleet are gonna eat you up. Long story. I got my start in the Academy and made a name for myself hunting the Crimson Fleet. I eventually got recruited to do test flights on a star station orbiting Lloyden's Rock. Me and 3 other Archangel pilots did some work on some extremely dangerous prototypes. But I called in a few favors and got back home with SysDef. Someone with my talents needs to be here, where the action is. I cut my teeth on space trucks, believe it or not. Before I got my stripes, I was just another cargo hauler trying to earn an honest wage. But after a couple slick escapes, I got recruited to the academy and went from dodging pirates to hunting them. Thing is, some of my best tricks were with a big rig. Ever try a pitchback with a Hope Tech truck with 2 fleet wraiths on your tail? Compared to that, doing it with a military fighter is a piece of cake. Later, Gator.
We've detached. Let's get out of here.
Sidonia. The UC clings to its old ways. I suspect this soul system would be abandoned otherwise.
My buddy Mitch keeps asking me if I can help him out with something, but I just don't have the time.
Do you imagine anyone actually enjoys living here? I simply cannot.
Good job.
You know, I was a proud member of the Red Devils. We'll bring them back one day, you'll see. That's right. As the highest-ranking officer on this planet, it was only fitting that I be appointed to the position in the interim. I know you had a hand in uncovering Hurst's scandal. Rest assured, I'm not like Hurst. I won't make the same lapses in judgment he did. I'm sworn to my duty to serve the people of Mars, and I'll keep with it until someone tells me otherwise, or I'm 6 feet under, whichever comes first. Time will tell. They're using the Red Devils HQ, and many of the same people are involved. I can see why some people are saying the Red Devils are back, but that's not the whole story. The new initiative's in its infancy, and while the goal is different than the old Red Devil program, I'm optimistic. I'm ready to see how this plays out. It's with some certain comfort that I know the best and brightest minds are tasked with finding and eliminating the Terramorph threat. Have yourself a good one.
As it.
If you're here to buy or sell, you might want to talk to Octai. I'm busy. Octai Inbayar. He's the head of our Sidonia branch. If you want to do some trading, he's the one you need to be talking to. I'm busy. And by sensitive, I'm guessing you mean something you don't want UC security sticking their noses into. I can probably help you with that. What have you got for me? Aurora, huh? Nice. A little too hot to handle, though. What else you got?
If the Trade Authority is not interested, that says a great deal.
No, they're right. What they didn't tell you is that I have a self-preservation streak 1 kilometer wide. Of course, if there's a finder's fee you're offering, I might, well, bend the rules a little bit. You must be new at this game, love, so I'm gonna let that one slide. In our business, nothing gets done until money is exchanged, even if that means leaving a credit on each and every rung of the ladder as you climb your way up. You know, it's funny. Suddenly, I do remember someone who might be able to unload that stuff for you.
Just demand the extra credits up front next time.
These games are juvenile and tiresome.
There's a buddy of mine who runs with the Crimson Fleet. Goes by the name Adler Kemp. If he isn't passed out, you can find him killing the rest of his brain cells at the Broken Spear. Oh, and it's been a pleasure doing business with you.
Yes?
The city of Sidonia is proud to be a pillar of support for the United Colonies. Seek your local Marine Corps if you wish to sign up for military service.
Things can get pretty glum around here. If you ever need a little joy, go talk to that Renee kid. She's always
Just
trying
my
to make
personal
people
savior.
happy.
Thanks again for the assist. Hey, good to see you again. Still think there might be room for me on your crew? I'm a real expert in the gunner seat. Have to be, since I usually fly solo. I'll knock out any targets we come across. That's a promise. No worries. Plenty of work left to do in the solar system. Give me a shout if anything changes.
Hey, I heard a rumor that you're the one who made the new equipment possible. Thanks.
Naeva, sit down, have a drink. So, smooth jump into the Sol system? UC security hassle you?
Cut the crap, Adler, and let's make this quick. There's only so long I can stand a stink of minor sweat and stale beer.
Okay, take it easy. Here's the fleet's kickback, just like I promised.
What is this bullshit? This is half of what you promised.
No reason to get upset, sweetie. Security around Sidonia's been cracking down, and it's tough to get the Deimos marks to play ball. That means I'm spending big on bribes, covering lost shipments. This isn't exactly like running a pharmacy out here, you know.
Two things, Adler. And I will make this simple enough so even a total imbecile like yourself can understand. One, I don't give a damn about your excuses. You owe us the agreed amount on time every month. And two, you call me sweetie ever again, and I'll shove my knife so far up your ass that people will mistake you for a unicorn.
Okay, sorry, Naeva. I'll make it work. Here's the rest.
That's more like it. I'll see you in a month.
Unless you're here to serve me another drink, you can turn around and walk away. Hey, why don't you say that a little louder? I don't think every single UC guard in Sidonia heard you. Okay. Yeah, I think we can help you with this. If you've got a whole shipment of this stuff, you're going to need to move it fast. But you're going to have to do something for us first. Pipe down! What the hell's the matter with you? You want to get us both thrown into lockup? Look, I don't know what that big mouth Saoirse told you, but I keep who I run with a secret in public. And I suggest you do the same. Now, do you want my help moving your product, or not? Right down to business! And no small talk. I like it.
I see no good reason why we should have any extra dealings with the likes of you.
Lady, if you want me to move that shipment for your pal here, you're going to do whatever the hell I want. You got that? Now listen up, because I'm not going to repeat myself. I need you to deal with a miner who's racked up a bunch of debt. He probably spent it all on booze, not that I blame him. Either way, I want that money back. What do I need to do here? Write you an instruction manual? You can do this loud, you can do this quiet. I don't care. I just want my goddamn money, and I want this guy to remember who he screwed over. Perfect. His name's Karl Fielding. I think you'll find him wandering around the Deimos miners' quarters. Don't worry, you can't miss him. Just look for the most miserable-looking guy in the entire place.
This is Acting Governor Bethesda. As I step into this role in the aftermath of Governor Hurst's sudden resignation, I want to make a promise to all Sidonians.
I'm committed to making Sidonia a safe and prosperous place to live and work. If you have any concerns, the Office of the Governor is willing to listen. Thank you for your patience and support during this period of transition.
What a long day. The community center on P1 is a good place to connect with others, or fulfill any spiritual needs you may have.
Something I can help you with? Adler Kemp. Who the heck is that? Of course I owe money. Unless you're independently wealthy. Everyone's in debt nowadays. I owe Deimos. I owe my landlord. I owe Galbank. Heck, I have a tab at Parsec Deep at Cespear. It's an endless list. So why don't you just leave me here? Let me get drunk and find someone else to bother. Okay? Adler, you said? Nope. I think you have me mixed up with someone else. Look, I'm tired. It's been a long day in the mines. I just want to go home, wash off the dust, and relax. This has been fun, though. Whatever. Adler. Oh! Wait! You mean that Adler? Yeah, sorry. I thought you were talking about someone else. I told him I'd pay up next week when Deimos cuts our next profit share check. I'll even bring it to him personally. Sound good? Yeah? What the heck do you want me to do, then? Huh? Look, I haven't got a single credit to spare right now. Okay? You can't squeeze blood from a stone. You know? Right?
Clearly this man has never seen how hard I can squeeze.
I'm a miner for Deimos. It's not what I was hoping for out of life. But here I am. Yeah, it's a lousy company. It pays me a salary. But I depend on the profit-sharing bonuses to keep food on the table for my family. Hey, now wait a second. Just because things are tough, and I might be spending my afternoons at the spear, it doesn't mean I don't care about my family. Adler doesn't get to judge me. No, he's just a low-life pirate who thinks he can push everyone around. Holy crap. Really? You'd do that for me? Wow. I don't even know what to say. Thank you. For everything. And don't worry. I'll never borrow anything from Adler again. I promise.
The city of Sidonia is proud to be a pillar of support for the United Colonies. Seek your local Marine recruiter if you wish to sign up for...
United
I sure hope this hearing loss isn't permanent.
Have something for me? There, would you look at that? I knew that bum was holding out on me. He going to be a problem anymore? Or did he get the message? Nice. Nice! You're kind of a natural at this. Leaning on deadbeats comes easy to you. I like that. You know, if you like this kind of work, I can get you more. A lot more. You think you can handle running with my, associates? That's what I'm talking about. I like your style. All right. I'll call ahead and get a hold of Naeva Mora. She's second to the big boss himself. Head out to Europa. You'll find her there. I suggest you listen to whatever she has to say. Oh, and I've taken care of that Aurora shipment for you too. Don't spend all that cash in one place.
Have my attention.
Wow, look who finally had the guts to show up. Looks like Adler finally did something right for once. So, big shot. I hear Adler thinks you're good enough to join our crew. To Adler? Sure. But for all I know, you're just his latest impulse buy. Still, I'm feeling generous. So I'm gonna give you a chance to prove you're not a total waste of cabin air. You're funny. I hate funny. Remember that. So, before I put you to work, let's get everything out in the open. I don't know if Adler mentioned it, and for his sake, I hope he hasn't. But you aren't about to sign up with any average pirate crew. You're signing up with the Crimson Fleet. That's if you get through this little task I have planned for you. There's a medical supply ship called the Ragana, jumping into Enceladus's orbit. On board that ship, you'll find a traitor named Austin Rake. I want him dead. Kill Rake? That's your only option? If you want my advice, there's only one way to guarantee he dies. Turn the Ragana into space junk. Only way to be sure. There's a lesson in this. I need you to learn what'll happen if you decide to turn your back on the fleet. Consider it your glimpse into a possible, unfortunate future. So you'd better pay close attention. This job isn't about the loot, but I suppose every dog needs its scraps. Keep whatever worthless junk is on that ship. Just remember, the only thing that matters is that Rake dies. It's done when Rake stops breathing. Head back here when you're finished. And don't keep me waiting for long.
This Naeva Mora, her words are measured and carry weight. She is not to be trifled with.
Rake used to run with the fleet. Hell, I'm the one who vouched for him in the first place. Back then he had a different name and a different identity. He was a damn good earner too, brought in a ton of creds. Everything was fine until he wanted out. So he ran. And nobody, I mean nobody, runs away from the fleet. I've been tracking Rake for months. He's making it tough, not gonna lie. He changes his location and identity so often, it's costing me a small fortune just to keep tabs. But you know what? It's worth every damn cred. He's made me look like a fool in front of Delgado, and I'm gonna have his head on a pike.
Pilot of the Ragana. We are a simple transport ship heading to New Homestead. We do not want any trouble. All right. And what are your intentions with these crewmen? Oh God, I do not know.
It would be wise for you to take this offer. It shows more mercy than you know.
Well, normally I would say no, but frankly it will be safer for us that way. Alright, you can dock. We will talk then.
I have something I need to discuss with you. Can we speak for a moment? Let's cycle that airlock and get aboard.
It is good to be. If you have the time, I wish to speak to you.
I am not sure what to make of you being here. If you wanted to kill us, you could have done that from your ship. If you wanted our cargo, we could have jettisoned it. I guess I should just stop talking and let you say your piece. That is true. Which means you don't want somebody to know what you are really up to. Now, do you mind telling us what this is all about? You really do not know which one of us is Rake, do you? And you do not seem to care either, which makes me think you really want to save him. Okay, I have idea. We can strike his name from Manifest, make it so he was never on board. Then, when we dock, we will leave him on this ship and deliver him to another port. Is that all right with you, Austin?
Do I have a choice?
It does not appear you do. Well then, it is agreed. You go back to your ship and we will make sure Rake was never on ours. And in case any of your handlers get suspicious, here. We had an extra crate of supplies loaded, in case one got damaged. This should be proof you were not here to bargain.
I would like a chance to talk to you, if you are able.
Be careful around the fleet. They talk about family, but it's just a bunch of crap. So now what? They're gonna put me in a SysDef prison? I'm not saying it's worse than death, but it's pretty damn close.
Nice. Clean sep there.
Damn mercs just don't know how to take a hit. Hey, Rook, wanna help me with some targets control, but it definitely went faster after you jumped into the fight. Now tell me about the Ragana. Give me some good news, then we can go celebrate. Mercenaries. Guns for hire that shoot their own parents if they were paid enough. I'll tell you, we do a hell of a lot of dirty work in the Crimson Fleet, but we'd never sell away our souls like an ecliptic merc does. You know what? I have no idea, and it's frustrating the hell out of me. I suppose I could have pissed off someone I screwed over in the past, but there's been so many, I've lost count. Huh. No kidding. That'll make Delgado happy, seeing as our hands are clean. I would have preferred if you hadn't left witnesses behind, but at least you got the job done. Anyway, you wanted into the Crimson Fleet? Well, you're in. Yep, it's that simple. Hope this business with Rake's taught you something. Because I'm about to stick my neck out and vouch for you. If you screw up, and I wind up looking like an asshole, I'm gonna send someone after you. We clear? Yeah? Last person who said that was Rake. So you've already dug yourself a hole about 6 feet deep. And now that you know the deal, it's time to see what you signed up for. I'm gonna upload the coordinates for our headquarters in the Crick system. Spacers call it the key, the fleet calls it home. Head out there as soon as you can. Don't keep me waiting long.
Joining the Crimson Fleet is hardly a cause for celebration. But you have your reasons. So for now, I will allow it.
Acknowledged. You're clear to dock at docking port 1. The commander will be waiting for you in operations.
Nice clean dock, Captain.
No particular love. If you are free soon,
follow me.
Could we talk?
Greetings, Captain.
I had a friend on the Ragana. I hope I'll be able to see him next time we're on shore leave. Howdy.
At ease, soldier. We got the message from the Ragana about Austin Rake. We had him dropped off at a separate port, off the books. Suffice to say, he's got a lot to answer for. That's something we're looking into, but it doesn't seem like he knows much. He might be better served as bait. For now, we'll keep him in the brig. Perhaps you could pay him a visit there sometime? I'm sure he'd be pleased to see you. That's a smart line to follow. Part of this role you're playing means having to make hard choices. Just remember not to lose yourself in the part.
We did our best not to cross the line, but the more we do, the more we risk exposing the deception.
Oh, one more thing before we move on. For transparency's sake, you should know we were the ones that hired Ecliptic to attack Naeva's ship. There was concern after what happened with the Ragana that you might have trouble earning Naeva's trust. Coming to her rescue ensured that would not be a problem. They are mercenaries for hire. If they had paid enough money, Ecliptic would attack the Vigilance. It wasn't terribly difficult to convince them to attack an isolated Crimson Fleet ship. Just expensive. Ah, so I take it you have good news. Were you able to join the fleet? Then it worked. You're in. Sounds like everything is going as expected. Now it's time for the next phase of the mission.
Our intel on Saoirse was correct. After we received reports on your interaction with Adler Kemp, we picked up on your rendezvous with Naeva Mora.
Our files indicate she's second in command, so getting on her good side will ensure you get into the Crimson Fleet. The woman has a record that could stretch across Sol and back. She started young as one of Neon's street rats, and worked her way up to second in command. She's a force to be reckoned with, so don't underestimate her. Yes, you passed your first test and you're still alive. But before we get too confident, that either means she suspects nothing, or she intends to make an example of you later. Just remember, these are ruthless criminals, so don't let your guard down.
And their ruthlessness is only surpassed by their cunning. You should proceed with caution, regardless of how well you think you've ingratiated yourself.
So what's next for you on Naeva's agenda? The Vigilance is equipped with one of the most advanced intelligence suites in the UC fleet. Nothing slips through. You can rest assured, if the Crimson Fleet had any access to our whereabouts or had infiltrated our security, we'd know. As long as you're here, your identity is safe. Where you'll meet Delgado, no doubt.
Delgado is the leader of the Crimson Fleet. I have a profile here with some information on his background. You'll want to know the individual cadences of every member of the fleet, but Delgado's most of all.
What is there to know? He is pirate scum, like all of them.
Exactly. The Crimson Fleet is not a monolith. Any information you have on its members can only help. In any case, now that you're with the fleet, you'll be operating independently. We will shadow you eventually, but we'll need to maintain our distance for now, especially while you're on the key. This will also give us time to bolster our defenses, should we need to engage with the fleet in the future.
Sir, on that note, shall we begin implementing the upgrade to our shields?
Immediately, Lieutenant. Notify the engineers and relay the information to the crew. I hope your entry into the fleet has overcome any doubts you may have had regarding your mission. It certainly increased my estimates on success. Keep up the good work. We'll expect further reports. Dismissed.
I have things I wish to discuss with you. When you have time.
We don't have a full map of the fleet's roster. The members change too quickly.
We've been trying for
Things are
years
progressing
to get
rather
someone
quickly.
on the inside.
I'm sure the
And now
commander
we
is
have it.
pleased. Nice work. Let me take a look. Interesting. Looks like he's been meeting up regularly with Naeva Mora to transfer goods and cash from Cydonia. Which means the Crimson Fleet's just lost one of their drop points. That should set them back a bit. Anything else? All right. Keep up the good work. 2 reasons. First, Commander Ikande's playing this operation extremely close to the vest. That means keeping prisoners under his own roof until this is resolved. Second, this is an undercover mission. For our safety and yours, we need to keep these prisoners out of the spotlight. That's right. It's something we've requested a while ago, in preparation for a future conflict with the fleet. Once we finalize everything and run a few tests, we'll have the defenses needed for a jump to the Crick system when the time comes. Sure, we have a database of profiles you can read, which should help you ingratiate yourself with the group. However, the profiles are a guide, not gospel. Use what you can, fill in the blanks, and play off that. I imagine when you're done, you'll be able to generate far more accurate profiles than what we have in our system. The system was originally called Alpha Ophiuchi, until a flag was planted there by Jasper Crix, the founder of the Crimson Fleet. Since it was crucial that space travelers avoided that system, navigators marked it as Crix on star maps as a warning. They could have just as easily labeled it Crimson Fleet, so I'm guessing the pirates themselves were responsible for spreading their leader's name. Over the years, people forgot the system's original designation and started calling it the Crix system. It's been that way ever since. Good luck on the key.
This is just the beginning, but it's an important first step. Thank you. I wasn't sure what you were planning to do with them, or if you still needed them for your cover. We'll make sure they get transported to their original destination. Extremely critical. It's unfortunate the Ragana caught itself in the crossfire of Naeva Mora's personal vendetta. Fortunately, your actions allowed the Ragana to reach New Homestead with its cargo intact. And you even returned the extra supplies that were jettisoned. We'll make sure they find the right home. They're a menace to civilized society. They attack supply ships, terrorize systems, and kill innocents, all under a banner of greed. But it's not just that. I strongly believe that the UC has a duty to destroy the Crimson Fleet. After all, it was our fault that the Crimson Fleet was unleashed upon the settled systems in the first place. I'm not at liberty to explain the origin of the Crimson Fleet right now, but suffice to say, it's a massive embarrassment to the UC. All I can tell you is that the key and the planet that it's orbiting once belonged to the United Colonies, and they were lost to those pirates. The Crimson Fleet is a product of our negligence, and I aim to rectify that mistake. I've asked my superiors the same thing, but the Council is resistant to the notion that the Crimson Fleet is a serious threat. They perceive the pirates as simple opportunists and thieves, willing to betray each other the moment a better offer arrives. In actuality, I believe the fleet is a massive threat, one that's growing more and more organized as the years pass. Our directive is simple. We are tasked with the eradication of space piracy in the settled systems. As the chief source of pirate activity, the Crimson Fleet is our primary target. Best of luck. You are headed into a snake pit. Be sure to watch your step.
I can't believe you ate those.
I could have joined any division in the UC Navy. I chose SysDef.
I only did that once. Yeah, well, you can eat just about anything once.
Hello.
Okay, hello.
What are we hearing in terms of chatter?
Not much. Some talk about new personnel and some speculation regarding the fate of Ragana.
Okay. But if you hear anything else, keep the lieutenant posted. If word of the operation leaks, we need to know before the fleet does.
We'll keep the brig ready for any pirates you bring in. Welcome to the brig. As a member of SysDef, you may talk with the prisoners as long as you are mindful of operation security. As a personal rule, I simply ask that you adhere to UC Navy standards of cleanliness at all times. That means no mud on your boots, your hands are washed, and you are free of any contagious diseases. Besides the fact that it's healthier, a sanitary brig is important for station security. In my experience, a prisoner will hide a shiv under a flake of dust if you let them. The cleaner a space is, the easier it is to spot irregularities, both inside a cell and out. Excellent. And all that being said, I understand your mission directive might call for flexibility on my part. So if you need to be a rum-drinking, swashbuckling pirate to do your job, then I will do my best to clean up after you. No, the prisoner surrendered willingly, as per the terms of your deal. This is probably the safest place for him, if the fleet want him dead. You can chat with him, if you haven't already. I'm sure he has a lot to say. As a matter of fact, I have a favor to ask. I understand that part of your undercover work involves going to the fleet headquarters, namely, the key. While you're there, if you find anything pertaining to the history of the fleet, I'd be interested in learning about it. It's not, and purely voluntary. As a jailer and a student of history, call it a professional curiosity. I appreciate it. I've actually heard rumors about there being audio logs for an interview the founder of the fleet, Jasper Crix, did on the key. I'm interested in anything he had to say regarding his time in prison and how the prisoners were treated. If you find anything like that, bring it back here, and we'll take a listen. The fleet and the UC are intertwined, and I've always felt knowing that past as an important part of what we do. In life, history can be a guide, a warning, or at times, a reflection. And if you want to know which one it is, you have to stare it in the face, regardless of how ugly it is. That's a loaded question. We err on the side of caution here, short of any physical abuse. But with the Crimson Fleet, you have to be very careful. If you give them an inch, they'll take a parsec and find a way to stab you with it. Yes, although it's always a balance. At the end of the day, these are ruthless pirates, and they will take advantage of any weakness you show. But I'll be the first to admit it's not an exact science, and we've made mistakes in the past with both the carrot and the stick. As chief officer of this brig, my worst fear is that we'll someday repeat them. The cells you see here are for captured pirates and prisoners of war. If you apprehend any pirates during the course of your missions, they'll be detained here. We have multiple turrets attached to the ceiling. If you've met Ensign Betty, she's personally calibrated them to ensure they cover the entire area. That being said, firing the turrets should be considered a last resort. He's a good man, singularly focused when it comes to the fleet. But that's not to say he doesn't care about his crew. I can tell you a story as an example if you'd like to hear it. Usually only when he has business here. But pretty much everyone passes by the brig on their way to other parts of the ship. Given he sees barely a glance of me most days, you'd think he wasn't paying attention. Hence the story, if you've got time. So, I'm a bit of a workaholic, and I forget to take breaks. One day, Commander Ikande passes by the brig and sees me at my desk. He takes one look at my haggard face and says, "Officer, I'm headed to the mess hall. If you're not with me in 15 minutes, your services will no longer be required on my ship." I tried to protest, but he was dead serious. So I went. We had lunch, talked about old times, and I went back to the brig, refreshed and ready to work. It's little things like that. You can see he pays attention, and that he cares about the people, not just the work. Until next time.
Officer Petrosyan likes books. Sometimes I feel he'd prefer a library to the brig. Hey.
I guess you think I have some sad story to tell? That I met some sick orphans on New Homestead and grew a conscience? Or maybe you're the cynical type, and you think I turned a new leaf because I wanted SysDef to go easy on me. The truth is a bit more complicated than that. Sure, I got time. You see, at my age, you know who you are. And I've always been a thief. I'd swipe a cred stick for my own mother if it had enough zeros on it. But even in a group of cred-hungry thieves, a man has to have a code. Rules. I do. You finish a job, it's supposed to be done. You get the rush and the relief. But in the fleet, doing the job isn't the hard part. In the fleet, you gotta worry about the guy sleeping next to you, and if he's gonna take a bigger piece of the pie. You gotta wake up the next morning and wonder why your slice is missing and the crumbs are stuck to his face. Well, for one, they don't have much in the way of loot, but they're still important to somebody. You can't just blow up one without it showing up on SSNN, or a UC captain getting a 10-inch stack of slates on his desk. But more importantly, do-gooders are predictable. The pirate code changes depending on who's reciting it. Honest folks, they have a habit of writing their rules down. Why did I join the Ragana? Truth is, I just wanted a good night's sleep. Yeah, I've had some work done. If you got the Crimson Fleet on your back, you would too. As for the name, that was actually the hard part. You can use 100 different aliases and the system will just add them to the list. Now you can pay a guy to delete the list, but nothing's ever really gone forever. Naeva probably paid the same guy to hit rewind, and here we are. And put a bigger target on my back? As far as I'm concerned, the brig is the safest place I can be. The second you drag me into some private room, you're basically telling everyone here that I'm a rat.
I don't feel sorry for any lowlife that ends up at the brig. You reap what you sow.
Captain, hello. I am satisfied to see that you survived your most recent sleep cycle.
Always a satisfying moment to return to your ship. Can we speak for a moment? I wanted to thank you for giving me the chance to work with you. I know we met under, unusual circumstances. You seem to be acclimating well to Constellation. Are you enjoying working with them? I think none of us were expecting what we have found. Well, perhaps Matteo. You have certainly become a vital part of the organization. That is a credit to your abilities. If I may, from what you have seen, do you think I fit in well with the rest of Constellation? I cannot tell if that is a compliment or an attempt to avoid the question. I will assume the former. I have a very different background from the rest of Constellation. I carry myself differently. I worry that some of the others are unable to see past this. I have not shared much, but everyone knows I worked with smugglers for years. I am no stranger to violence and death. I know. For those that have not lived it, it can be difficult to imagine or accept. Others here have seen conflict, but for more noble causes. Vladimir is the only one here who can begin to understand. He was the one who pressed the group to include me. I lack his charm. He puts others at ease. I fear my presence does the opposite. Jokes do not come naturally to me, not the way they do to others. If I try, it only makes things awkward. That is kind of you. You also have a lot going. I find expressing affection difficult, but truly. Thank you. I know this seems trivial, perhaps childish. I have just always relied only on myself. I have never been surrounded by people like this. By a group I wish to be a part of. Does that make sense? Yes, you carry yourself well. Perhaps more time with you will allow that to rub off on me. Discussing these things is challenging for me. I hope now you can better understand why I wanted to keep the circumstances of our meeting quiet. I wanted to thank you for not saying anything to Vladimir. I know that you said you wouldn't, but it is still a relief. I would like my contributions to Constellation to amount to more than violence. It would have been, to some. Thank you for talking this over with me. It is good to know that at least one member of Constellation understands me.